Do you ever hear about a business and wonder, how does that stay open? And that's legal?
Hi, I'm John Picciaferri, and I sell bones in Brooklyn, New York.
John's Bones is an osteological supply company based in New York City. Their collection is valued at over $600,000 and includes 80 real human skulls, 10 real human skeletons, and a whole wall of human spines.
These are $15,000 per skull. They're one of the most expensive items in the showroom due to the rarity and how little of them were preserved from the 70s. This is one of the most expensive items in the showroom. This is what's considered an exploded skull. This piece here can go anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000.
John has been working with bones since he was 15 and started working professionally in 2018 from his college dorm room.
I used to do animal skeletons for museums and clients. And then finally I realized it just wasn't economically viable.
So he made the switch to the human bones business, and business is booming. We'll get to that. But first, I have to admit, I had no idea this industry existed, so I looked into it. The medical industry was booming in the 19th century, stemming from advancements in medical science. This created a demand for bodies and body parts for anatomical research and training. Soon, demand outpaced supply. Bodies were sourced from the poor and marginalized, like executed prisoners, unclaimed corpses, and those whose graves were robbed. Demand was so high that it led to an increase in body snatching, and then things got worse, like serial killing worse. Two British men, Burke and Hare, murdered tenants of their Edinburgh boarding house and sold their bodies to the anatomy department of nearby universities for a mere £10 a body. Their crimes led to the UK's Anatomy Act of 1832, which banned doctors from taking or buying unclaimed corpses. So, British doctors began sourcing bones from the colonies, specifically India. Calcutta quickly became the capital of the human bone trade. For more than a century, most of the bones in the medical and educational fields were sourced from India. But in 1985, the industry finally collapsed. India banned the trade of human remains after a bone trader was arrested for exporting 1,500 child skeletons. Today, most of the bones in circulation were sourced from India prior to 1985. So those bones are often inherited by families when a doctor or professor dies. People are literally finding skeletons in their closets. That's where people like John come in. His goal is to bring those bones back into the medical teaching sphere where they can hopefully still benefit humanity. The bones are here whether we like it or not, and there's not a record of anyone or anywhere to send them back to, so John figures we might as well put them to good use. Still, it's very ethically murky, and John is aware of that.
I always tell people, if I wanted to make money in New York City, there's a million easier ways to do it than selling people's skulls for a living. I do this work because I believe there's a problem. I do this work because I believe somebody needs to advocate for it.
John has certain rules in place to keep everything above board. He only works with medical remains and turns down buying bones all the time. He doesn't break up any sets of bones in order to turn a profit, which is how he ended up with one of the largest collections of human spines in the country.
If you were to sell each vertebrae for $50 to $80, you can easily net over $2,000 for a spine, but you'd be hard pressed to get $600 to $1,200 for it retail, selling the entire spine as a whole. So in my time in the industry, I've seen over 500 spines destroyed for profit.
He also turns down sales when he believes that a buyer is not using the bones for the correct academic reasons and attempts to price out bad actors.
We want to make sure that the pieces here within the collection are used for academic and responsible reasons. These pieces are not decorations. It's not a vanity. It shouldn't just be on display in someone's apartment. We want these pieces to be used by educators and medical professionals. So we found that over the last 5 years of doing business, when they are priced accordingly, we usually find the correct clientele that are supposed to use it for the right academic and professional reasons.
Despite limiting who he sells to, business is doing well, growing 20% year over year, according to John.
We make between 50 to 60 sales a month, just depending on the given month. But what's interesting is we're a seasonal business. We make all of our revenue between 2 to 3 months out of the year. It is December, November, and February. And we find May, June, July, we are dead in the water because our largest clients are universities. And universities go on break for the summer.
It turns out business is booming for everyone. Doctors who went to medical school in the time when it was common to buy sets of teaching bones are passing away each year and leaving these bones behind. As next of kin inherit these bones, they often don't know what to do with them and want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. So they sell them to John or someone like John.
They end up reaching out to individuals like me at John's Bones, where we're able to purchase them back, curate them, and then sell them back to medical professionals and universities. And this is really the ethos of what the business believes in and stands for. This is what a medical student would have purchased when they were studying. They would have gotten it in a bone set like this. A piece like this sold for $150. Adjusted for inflation would be around $300 to $400 today.
How much would you sell this for today?
A piece like this would go for around $4,000 to $6,000 now.
There are many websites where you can buy bones online. Some, like John, try to keep their customers limited to educational or medical buyers, but they all have varying degrees of actual checks of who a buyer is. It seems to be mostly done on the honor system. But John sees a future for the business that's less dependent on the sale of human bones and more on his design degree from Parsons.
We're moving away from the physical sales of the bones and more towards preservation and doing it from a historic standpoint. So ideally, John's Bones nonprofit, people can come see for free, and then we move it towards our product section where we sell bone-inspired jewelry, bone-inspired design. That's what pays our bills. That way there's no issues with it. We keep it accessible, and then from there, I can retire in the sunset and be a happy man.